We can have a tendency to think that if we want to become more spiritual, we need to do something extreme and remove ourselves from our usual life situations and do something like move to the Himalayas and live in a cave. And the same can happen when we do our mental training. We think we need to remove ourselves from the usual climbing that we do and do something extreme like free solo climbing. Kind of forces us to develop our ability to focus our attention and to be mentally fit. But the best way to do our training, if we want to become more spiritual, is to practice it in our usual life situations, like relationship stressors. And the best way to do our mental training for climbing is in the medium that we actually do. This way we don't create illusions of how situations should be. We practice in how they actually are. An example comes from a tour I did to South America. I was in Chile several years ago with our Spanish trainer, David Villegas. We're at a climbing area called El Arrayán, which is close to Santiago, Chile. And David and I were checking out some routes for a clinic that we're going to teach. And next to us, there was a climbing party on a moderate sport climb. And we noticed that the leader clipped the first 3 bolts and then ran it out to the top, maybe another, 15 and 20 meters. In other words, guaranteeing a ground fall if he came off. So David and I were both curious about why they would do that. So David asked the belayer, like, what's he doing? And the belayer said, oh, he's practicing his mental training. So when David and I talked about this, we realized that what the climber is doing is he's using a trick, of pretending like he's sport climbing to diminish the stress that comes with free solo climbing. And this is really dangerous. It interferes with the learning process. What's most helpful is that we're motivated to be in the stressful experience, the realistic situation and whatever stressors come up in that, so that we can process ourselves through it. In sport climbing, we notice if we're rushing through from bolt to bolt, and we slow down so that we're present for the stress. We also practice falling because that's a realistic consequence for practicing in yes fall zones. If we want to practice our mental training in free solo climbing, then we practice in realistic free solo situations. We don't take a rope, we leave the rope on the ground, and we come directly face to face with the consequence of death, of what that choice is moving us toward. And we also practice down climbing because down climbing is a skill that we use in no-fall climbing, whether it's free soloing or when we're in no-fall situations. In James Salter's book, Solo Faces, there's an interaction between 2 climbers that are talking about climbing the Eiger North Face in Switzerland. It says the north face of a dangerous big mountain in the Alps. And one climber says, I suppose everyone wants to climb it. And then the other climber responds, they don't want to climb it, they want to have climbed it. So to want to climb a mountain like the Eiger, or to do something dangerous like free soloing, it points toward being motivated to want to be in the stress of that experience. To want to have climbed it points toward a motivation of wanting to be done with it, to get it over with, to be at the end when you're comfortable again. If we remove the consequence of our decisions and just want to be comfortable at the end of the event, then we don't have the opportunity to realign our motivations and deal with the realistic situations that we're engaging. And it's dangerous. It also prevents us from learning and enjoying the whole process more. We don't live in a cave in the Himalayas. We learn spirituality in the usual relationship stressors and struggles that we have in life. And if we're sport climbers, we practice in realistic sport climbing situations. If we're free soloers, then we practice in realistic free solo situations. Doing this realigns our motivation and grounds us in the usual climbing situations that we engage, or usual life situations. So don't create illusions about how situations should be. Practice in how they actually are. So for a practice tip, notice tricks that you might do to circumvent stress, to just get her done, to get it over with. And bring your attention back to finding small steps to engage the realistic situation, engaging the stress, being willing to be present for that so that you can process yourself through it. I think you'll be a lot more effective, and probably most importantly, you'll enjoy the whole process more. It's not nice to be living life to be done living life, and the same goes for climbing. You can go to warriorsway.com, get the full audio and text for this lesson. You can also check out our books. Rock Warriors Way comprehensively goes into the material in kind of a philosophical treatment of it. Espresso Lessons is also comprehensive and goes into the material in a different way, in a more practical way. You can also check out our upcoming courses. We have our Falling in Commitment material that's taught in gyms and outdoors. We have a bunch of clinics coming up at various parts around the country and abroad. And check out our free mind coaching that's done remotely that can be applied to climbing or life. Goes a little bit deeper into the Warriors Way material. Reach out to us to begin or continue your mental training. Thanks.